Peace and bliss to everybody. I just wanted to thank you all for being here, and I'm just honored to be a part of this event. This whole discussion, everything today is just a blessing, and I feel that we should be discussing this inside the homes, outside the homes, and definitely in environmental events like this as well. I'm going to share with you all some poetry, some spoken word poetry, and hope you all can extract something from that to assist in your ascension. This first piece is titled Nostalgia. I wanted to know more about my future, so I paid a visit to my past. I wanted to know more about my future, so I paid a visit to my past. I held the hand of the 9-year-old boy that I used to be, and I asked if he lead the way. Guess what this is, he said. He was very eager to show me what he had learned at school that day. And he smashed the water balloon over his head, and slowly the water trickled down his face. A rainstorm, I asked. No, he said. Your heart. I was cognizant of your existence well before you actually came within sight of my vision. And instantly, I knew. Instantly, I knew that you and I were the result of some divine creation, because I felt like the glistening smudge on a glass window from the rays of the sun just as it catches the corner of a constellation. Perhaps it's infatuation, or the very need to coexist that keeps me interested in you, because I already loved you before I even saw you, as though I was your husband and you were my wife. Man and woman validating life. A simple, nostalgic encounter that somehow forever altered the strands of our communication. But you see, it was never my intention to exit your life. And though I find a familiar comfort within the maze of your intrigue, I can only imagine the silence of your absence to be inextricably painful. But it was this very silence that showed me that you and I are an oil and water combination of passion and stoicism. You see, it's like being on Interstate 405 and trying to merge at only 25 miles per hour, bound for collision. The sign to the left reads, shoulders are for emergencies only. And so I offered you mine. But the uninvited solicitation of my shoulder was never enough. And then again, how could it be? Was I there just to fill the void and empty spaces? Because now, you have no interest in anything that I have to say. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, but you seem to be void from the human persistent need to touch and feel and reach out and speak meaningless little things into one another's ear just for the sake of meaningless conversation. Mundane manipulation with homogeneous hesitation, and in those regards, you see, I never told you that you and I are indeed alike. So much so that you don't even answer the phone when I call anymore, and you no longer own that vintage pair of cotton overalls that so artistically accented your silhouette the very first night that I met you. So now the details are just the fabrics of our relationship, which somehow became more important than the entity of the relationship itself, and now I'm left only with nostalgia. But you see, it was never supposed to be this way, and it was not my intention to exit your life. This next piece is called I Believe. I wrote this a while back, actually, about 6 years ago when I was living in New York. I had just moved out there from Chicago. And I aptly titled it I Believe. Warn the town, the beast is loose. Warn the town, the beast is loose. Life is war, I believe. Survival of the fittest, a battlefield where only the strong survive. And discovering what makes the soul thrive, only then, I believe, is one really alive. Opposites attract, no doubt. And that is why I believe the good dies young while the evil continues up the ladder rung by rung. There are entities in life meant to conceive. Perplexities that my mind just can't quite conceive. But I only know what I believe. You see, I believe it to be God's intent for both the man and woman to raise a seed. And despite contrary belief, I believe there is no such thing as sheltering a child from the bads and the evils of the world. Because the world is not PG or R-rated, but it's triple X-rated. You can either love it or hate it. And I believe that life is what you make it, and though none of us asked to be here, we all must choose to either embrace it or erase it. I believe there is no heaven for an atheist. That heaven only exists for those who acknowledge the Supreme Being. And it's believing without seeing. Yes, it's believing without seeing that sometimes gets us through existence. And I believe that my very existence is exploited and has been for the past 600 years. You see, I believe that man fears what he doesn't understand and hates what he fears. And as black men, we receive everyone's hate. Many believe it to be fate. But you see, I believe fate to be an excuse that one uses when he or she is down and out, when their soul is wandering about. And we have come a long way. From nigger to negro to nigga, all which are derived from the word necromancy, which means affiliated with the dead. So I believe that nigger was created to refer to blacks as mentally dead. And through conditioning, some of us are indeed deadheads. I believe the word is never appropriate. You see, I believe the English vocabulary is opinionated. With whom did words originate? Never knowing what to expect next. I believe the word whore was created to degrade women who enjoy sex. I believe that every black woman, despite what society may portray, are queens by nature. I believe they are Mother Nature. I believe that black people are the cream of the planet Earth and gods of the universe. And I believe that destiny starts with birth. No matter how significant or minute the destiny, everyone has one, because I believe if you had no purpose, you would not exist. I believe that teachers need to be taught, and an education should not be bought. The police needs to be policed, and then society can probably be at peace. In every ghetto and in every hood, I believe prisons do more harm than good. I believe there has to be a cure for AIDS. There has to be a cure for AIDS since the disease was man-made. I believe that the number 19 is a divine number. And I believe it to be divine because it represents the black man. You see, just as the number 1 is the beginning of all numbers, we are the beginning of all men. And as the number 9 is the last of all numbers before repetition, we shall be the last. And though millions and millions and millions of people still choose to somehow believe that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost are all technically one God, I believe otherwise. I believe it goes against mathematics because the laws of divisibility says that 3 can never go into 1. I believe sometimes more is less, and that in reality we are all immortal because the soul lives on even without the flesh. And I believe that lies are the cause of mass confusion and self-captivity. And therefore, I do believe that the truth will set you peace. Maybe then your heart can be at peace. It's like the image of too many swollen bellies attached to fragile bodies, too fatigued to even eat. So I want to be that steamed cornbread and that fried chicken that kills the starvations that plague so many African nations. I want to be the liaisons between right and wrong and the lyrics of a bittersweet love song. I'm sick and tired of the totally greedy, half-human, barely intelligent controlling the world. So I want to be the poison that explodes in the belly of the beast, the guiding sun that rises in the east. And in the memory of Alberta Spruill and Amadou Diallo, I want to be that fist that's thrown in the air when the voices shout, "No justice, no peace." I want to be free like the wind that rides the waters at midnight. and the majestic eagle that takes off in flight. And then once all the chaos and confusion, I want to be the consciousness that shed light on the fact that two wrongs will never make a right, though it understands that it does make even. I crave to be the literature that enlightens the ignorant, perhaps showing them a way. I want to be the poem that encourages the weak to fight yet another day, and the rain that pours in April, producing beautiful flowers in May. I want to be endless like the sky that looms ahead, and the soil beneath us that shelters the dead. And since I'm not a fan of repeating the past, I strive to be the truth in the history books that were never even read. To have life, I believe, is inevitably to be in pain. So I want to be the happiness that will put an end to the ceaseless cries. I want to be the 20/20 vision that's capable of penetrating the malicious lies, which blurs the sights of innocent eyes. Yes, I want to be the tears that's shed during heartfelt goodbyes, and the vivid dream before it withers up and dies. I believe that to be in love is to completely expose oneself, therefore being vulnerable. So I wish to be that sacred trust bestowed between lovers, and the passionate heat that's caused by friction underneath the covers. And at times, I even want to be that nasty, stinking shit on the bottom of your shoe. I want to be that feeling that arises in the pit of your stomach when you hear the words, I love you. So maybe one day it'll all make sense. And like my man Common, I ask, can I borrow $1? Because I'm sick and tired of being that poverty that makes you want to holler.